Hi, this is Reverend Bill Banuchi from the New York State Faith and Freedom Coalition with episode number 3 in our series on the faiths of our American presidents. Today we're going to talk about the third president, Thomas Jefferson. Few presidents have inspired more debate than that of Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was raised Anglican. Now, that was really the Church of England here in the United States. Uh, After the War for Independence, then it broke off. It became the Episcopal Church. But originally, it was the Anglican Church when it was connected to Britain. He remained culturally connected to that tradition, but he rejected some of the central Christian doctrines that dealt with the supernatural, such as the Trinity, the divinity of Jesus Christ, and many of the biblical miracles. He admired Jesus as an extraordinary moral teacher and believed that religious institutions and the human element had corrupted the purity of Jesus' ethical teachings. To this, we can attest to even in our own day. Now, Jefferson believed that the teachings of Jesus contained a superior system of morality, and he supported the efforts to bring Christian instruction and education and even agriculture to Native American peoples. This conviction led Jefferson to construct what is now called the Jefferson Bible. Using excerpts from the Gospels, he assembled an account focused on Jesus' life and moral teachings while excluding the supernatural events. Jefferson described himself as a Christian. He was a follower of the teachings of Jesus. He was not what we would consider today to be a born again Christian who expressed a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, but he firmly believed that the Christian religion was the best source for national felicity and prosperity. Historians commonly and falsely associate his views with religious rationalism or deism, although no real single label can really capture every aspect of his beliefs. His most enduring religious legacy was political. Jefferson wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, celebrating the right of freedom of conscience. When Baptists in Connecticut were concerned about the possibility of the establishment of a national church, such as what was common in Europe and from uh, at the time and from which many escaped, Thomas Jefferson wrote a personal letter to assure them that the federal government would in no way interfere with the local church. As he put it, there was a wall of separation between church and state that could not be violated by the national government. Unfortunately, his letter and this phrase, taken out of context, has been used over and over again to justify the idea that any mention of God cannot take place in government or politics. This was in no way Jefferson's intent or his belief. In fact, the very core of his beliefs are inscribed in stone in on his memorial in Washington, D.C., where it says, and I quote, it says, God who gave us life gave us liberty. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed a only firm basis, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are the gift of God, that they are not to be violated but by his wrath? Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice will not sleep forever. Now, these are not the words of a secularist or even a deist, but rather the words of one who is deeply committed to the Bible and to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Jefferson's record contains apparent tensions. He was skeptical of organized religion, but supported religious institutions and attended public worship services regularly held in government buildings. Guess where? In Washington, D.C., in the Capitol building. In fact, the biggest church in Washington, D.C. in his time was in the Capitol building, right in the middle of Washington, D.C., where various clergy from different persuasions of the Christian faith would deliver the sermons each week. Now, this would be consistent with Jefferson's idea that Americans practice the general principles of Christianity, but not any one sect or denomination. As the superintendent of public schools, which he served as also, he commissioned the use of two textbooks, the Bible and Watts Hymnal. Though he was a proponent of the Christian faith, he also believed that it must never be imposed, but rather each one would have the freedom to choose to believe or to not believe. But nevertheless, freedom could only thrive where it was founded on religion, and the Christian religion was the best available to offer and preserve the blessings of liberty. So there's a little bit about Thomas Jefferson. So if this brief teaching has added to your store of knowledge, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episode when they're published, and share the news with your friends and help us get this knowledge spread far and wide. Okay? So until next episode, see you then. Take care. God bless. And remember, our motto is America, bless God. Take care and God bless.